Hey everyone! If you've ever stared down an endless, chaotic spreadsheet of hospital visits and wondered how on earth to turn that mess into a sleek, professional grade analytics tool, you are definitely in the right place. Let's dive into this masterclass on transforming raw healthcare data into a highly dynamic Power BI dashboard. In this explainer, we're going to unpack the exact architecture of a high-end dashboard step by step. Just like building a custom dream home, we're going to construct this in 4 essential phases: laying the data foundation, powering up with DAX, designing the visual experience, and finally adding dynamic interactivity. All right, let's get our hard hats on. Phase 1, laying the data foundation. Before we can even think about putting up the walls, we need to make sure our raw materials, the visit records, patient details, and provider logs are perfectly prepped and ready to go. Now here's a classic trap you might fall into right out of the gate. What happens when crucial data points like the dates a patient was admitted and discharged load into your system formatted as text instead of actual dates? Well, if you don't check your data types immediately, a simple critical calculation like figuring out a patient's total length of stay is going to throw a massive error. You literally just cannot subtract text from text. So you gotta jump straight into Power Query for a really quick fix. You locate those columns, change the data type from text to date, and replace the current step to keep your query nice and clean. Oh, and a quick tip from the trenches. You might see a bunch of null values pop up in these date columns. Don't panic, it's not a glitch. In the specific context, null just means the patient came in for a quick visit, but was never formally admitted to a bed. Once our columns are clean, we really need to talk about time. You know, Power BI tries to be helpful by automatically imposing its own generic date tables, giving you basic year and quarter groupings, but we actually want to turn that off. By building a custom date table using DAX calendar functions, we lock in highly specific logic. We can format custom quarters, and more importantly, write custom weekend logic to analyze hospital volumes strictly by weekends versus weekdays. Moving right along to Phase 2, powering up with DAX. With a pristine foundation poured and our custom dates locked in, this is where we frame and wire our dashboard. It's where the real analytical heavy lifting happens. Here is a simple but absolutely brilliant organizational best practice. When you start writing dozens of formulas, things get messy incredibly fast. The solution? A disconnected table. You literally just enter data to create a completely blank, standalone table that has absolutely zero relationship to your main data models. It exists entirely to house your KPI calculations, like total patients or average billing amounts, in one dedicated, easily navigable folder. It keeps your wiring flawlessly organized. So let's actually write some of that logic. Imagine we need to calculate the total room charges for the entire hospital. We have a daily charge and we have the patient's length of stay. You can't just use a simple aggregate sum here because you need the math to happen for each individual patient first before adding it all together. Enter the iterator function, SUMX. This tells Power BI to scan the table, go row by row, multiply the daily charge by the days stayed, and then aggregate the final total. And boom, by applying that SUMX logic, we calculate our first massive KPI, 180,000 in total room charges. And here's the real secret. We did this dynamically without needing to clutter our data model with extra bloated calculated columns. The math just happens on the fly, keeping our dashboard lightning fast. From there, we build out our other primary KPIs. We figure out the total billing amount by adding up room charges, medication, and treatments. Then, we use some basic subtraction in DAX. We take that total billing amount minus the insurance-covered amount, which instantly reveals exactly how much patients are paying completely out of pocket. It's a critical metric for healthcare administrators, derived from just a few clean lines of code. All right, Phase 3, designing the visual experience. The wiring is hidden and functioning perfectly behind the scenes, so let's move to the interior design phase, where we make these robust numbers look beautiful, intuitive, and easy to digest for the stakeholders. Now, Power BI is an absolute powerhouse for data, but natively, its design capabilities can feel a bit rigid. So we use a combination of clever charting tricks and external tools to craft a truly bespoke visual experience. We're talking custom gradient backgrounds, field parameters that let users toggle map views instantly, and a really clever blank measure trick to customize how our bar charts are sorted and displayed. You may actually be completely shocked to learn that the sleek, modern background of this high-end dashboard isn't even built in Power BI at all. It's actually drawn in Microsoft PowerPoint. By using PowerPoint's shape formatting, we can create stunning dark mode gradients, perfectly precise rounded corner containers, and drop shadows. We just group those shapes, export the whole thing as a high-resolution image, and drop it straight behind our Power BI visuals as a canvas background. Once we have that gorgeous canvas in place, we overlay our visuals. Notice how we maximize our screen real estate here. Instead of separating total revenue and percentage breakdowns into two clunky charts, we use the divide function in DAX to calculate the percentage of the grand total. Then, we display both the total dollar amount and the percentage side by side on a single bar chart for procedures like X-rays and CT scans. It is clean, it's efficient, and it tells the whole story at a single glance.
Finally, Phase 4, adding dynamic interactivity. We're moving into the final stretch here. We don't just want static charts, we want a highly interactive application-like experience. Time to install those smart home features. Here's a great challenge for us. How do we build a seamless toggle to switch the entire dashboard between a light mode and a dark mode? To achieve that premium, modern application feel, we need a way for the end user to simply click a little half-moon icon in the corner and instantly dim the lights across the entire screen, changing the background and the font colors all simultaneously. The secret sauce here is actually a really cool illusion. We're overlapping two distinct background images, our bright PowerPoint export and a dark mode version. We align everything perfectly, then we use Power BI's bookmarks feature. A bookmark basically takes a snapshot of the exact visibility state of every item on the page at that exact moment. We create one snapshot with the dark background and white text visible, and another with the light background and dark text visible. Assign those snapshots to buttons, and suddenly we have a fully working dark mode toggle. And we apply that exact same bookmark logic to solve another major design problem, screen clutter. Instead of cramming all our filters onto the main page, we group our slicer visuals and a background shape together. We add open and close buttons, we create one bookmark where that group is visible and another where it's hidden. The result? This awesome, hidden, pop-out slicer panel that slides onto the screen when needed, giving users deep filtering capabilities by patient race, year, or quarter, and then it just vanishes when they're done analyzing. All of these tricks lead us right to the ultimate goal of this explainer. As our source material wisely reminds us, we don't just create, we follow requirements. We are taking messy, unpredictable data and rigorously engineering it into a polished tool that actively solves real business problems for healthcare providers. So, you now have the full architectural blueprint. You know exactly how to pour the data foundation, you know how to wire up iterator functions with DAX, you've got the PowerPoint design secrets, and you know how to install interactive bookmarks. So the only question left to ask is, how are you going to apply these high-end techniques to your own analytics? What kind of smart dashboard are you going to build next?